Hi there, and welcome to Experts at EWU. My name is Emma Olring. I am the host today, and we will be chatting with Dr. Susan Lee, the Director of Admissions at GU Law. We have Jim Headley, Chair of Political Science at Eastern Washington University, and Jacob Rooksby, the Dean of GU Law. Hello, everyone. How are we?
Hi. Very good.
Hello.
Good. I'm so glad we get to do this. This is fun. There's a lot of us on one screen. We'll see how it goes. It's exciting. To start off, Jacob, can you just talk a little bit about what we're here today for? What is this partnership? Let's just give a little debrief on what's going on.
Sure. So we are excited to announce our ongoing partnership with Eastern Washington University and Gonzaga University, which adds a new dimension by the creation of this 3+3 articulation agreement between our two institutions. So I know we're going to spend some time talking about that, but it falls within a larger framework of collaborations that we're working on between our two institutions.
Amazing. And Jim, would you mind talking about kind of the history that Eastern and Gonzaga have had in all of this? I know you mentioned to me it's been over a year of you coming up with this agreement, this partnership. Why don't you delve into that a little?
Well, thanks, Emma, and thanks for having us on. And Jacob and Susan, thank you, and Gonzaga School of Law for working on this collaboration with Eastern Washington University. It's a development of a relationship that's actually been a long-term relationship between the two institutions. Eastern has sent a number of students over the years to Gonzaga School of Law, and we're just building on existing relationships and making them stronger and developing these meaningful programs and giving opportunities to Eastern students and I think Gonzaga School of Law as well. So it's a long-term relationship. But this particular 3+3 agreement, Dean Rooksby and Gonzaga School of Law really took the lead in taking the initiative and developing and putting forward this initiative and working with Eastern administrators and so forth and developing the details. And I'd say the last year or so, there's really been a lot of effort put into inking this deal and figuring out the details. So we're happy and thrilled that it's in place. And I was just talking with one of our students this morning who's planning on applying this next year for this program.
That's amazing. Dr. Susan Lee, will you explain a little bit of the requirements, for those students who are hoping to join this program from an admissions standpoint? What is necessary? Can any student with a bachelor's degree in either of these schools apply? How does it work?
That's a good question. And also I'd like to comment on Dr. Headley's point about the relationship. This relationship makes perfect sense because a lot of their students do come to us. So I think in terms of this 3+3, it's perfect for an Eastern student. So the requirements for admission to the law school are very similar to anybody else who would be applying. They would need to have a bachelor's degree, certainly go through the entire application process, and that includes an LSAT, their transcripts, of course. The difference between a 3+3 is that you would apply a year early. So you would really be starting before your junior year. So you're thinking about going into law school prior to that junior year, then you would think about taking the LSAT and then going through the application process. What we always encourage students to do is work with their individual advisor. So students interested in this would work with Dr. Headley. They would look at all of their course requirements, make certain that they have everything that they need to apply. Ultimately, what they're doing is getting their bachelor's degree in almost 3 years. So they would have about 75% of their program completed. They would come to Gonzaga their first year of law school, and then the credits there would transfer, if you will, back. So it would complete their bachelor's degree. So that would be the process in terms of timeline of what they would need. But primarily it's that bachelor's degree and then an LSAT. But they would be in this process of the 3+3. They would be getting their bachelor's degree at the same time.
Yeah, and I'm curious about that. I mean, coming from a student's perspective, hearing of those requirements, this is a faster paced program. What are kind of the types of students that you're looking for in this application process? Because, obviously this material is difficult on its own, but then having this kind of ramp up of time. Can you talk a little bit about kind of maybe the ideal students to apply, or, all across the board who you're looking for?
Certainly, we're looking for an academically prepared student. So that's number one important. We want to make sure that the students can handle the rigor of law school. So we're looking at that. Certainly, it's part personality, right? Certain people are just driven for faster paced, quicker to get out. So I think it's not only are they need to be academically prepared, but in part it's a personality piece. It could be a student who has been not a non-traditional student. Maybe they went to school a little bit later in life, or sometimes we even have a running start student at Eastern. So I think it just really depends. We're certainly not looking for a cookie cutter person. We look for, because we're a Jesuit university, we're looking for that well-rounded, holistic person, and each person brings something different to the table.
Amazing. Now, Jim, I asked you this earlier, but I am curious. There kind of some talk about some potential work in maybe a GU student that is interested in a program like this, that a master's degree that Eastern offers that maybe GU doesn't. Do you have plans in creating, some sort of program where it's kind of opposite of what's happening, where students are coming to GU law? Is there anything towards Eastern's programs?
Emma, that's a good question, and I believe that there are programs in the works that are being developed, but they're kind of in the earlier stages.
Okay.
Yeah. Regarding the 3+. Okay, Jacob. Sorry.
Yeah, go
well,
for
I can jump in on that. So absolutely, it's of interest, because I think stepping back, sort of broad scale, what we're trying to do here is to play to each other's strengths and find attractive ways to keep talented students in the region. So for motivated undergraduates at Eastern who know they want to pursue a law degree, we'd love to have them at GU. And we have a long history of having of such folks come through our doors. In fact, Jim is a graduate of our law school. So to us, that's part of the feature of this dynamic, is how do we keep people in the region, talented students. Another way to do that is for GU students who might be pursuing or seeking to pursue upon graduation a master's program. Eastern has several programs that our institution does not. So again, we are collaborating in that way so that it's a win-win, both for both institutions, but I think also for the people of Eastern Washington.
Yeah, and something that I found interesting, Jacob, if you could talk a little bit. I mean, obviously, GU is a private institution. Eastern is a public institution. I think it's an amazing collaboration that this is, being accessible to students of, all demographics, all backgrounds, regardless of where you attend. Can you talk a little bit as to that decision? Because obviously that really opens up doors, and financially too, what this may look like for some students.
Certainly. So we want to take a broad view about what we're here to do. So this is educating people for personal fulfillment, but also to serve the public good. And we are not alone in that enterprise. And so we wanted to reach out to collaborators across the region. And Eastern is really kind of been one of the first priorities for us, because they're right in our backyard. It just seems to align with both of our missions so well. But we don't see this kind of thing as being exclusive between any two institutions. Exactly. We do have a 3+3 with Whitworth, a private institution. And we hope to make some collaboration with Washington State University to see if we can do the same kind of thing. So I think there's going to be massive changes going on in higher education, as there are other sectors right now because of the crisis. This particular work predates that. But I think the timing here is really quite good, in the sense that you're going to have more students motivated to earn their credentials on a quicker time frame than ever before, so that they can enter the workforce, so that opportunity cost is less for them, and we want to help them in that journey.
Yeah. Amazing. So Dr. Lee, can you speak a little bit about that with the crisis and admissions going on? Are you hoping that this program could kind of be, a lifesaver in a sense of, oh, I can get this degree accomplished in a short amount of time, I'm saving some pennies, or just maybe some, potential, factors you're going to see in people applying just in general to GU Law?
Sure. Well, as we all know, it's ever changing right now. So I'm not certain I can put my crystal ball out there to see what will happen.
That's
but
okay.
I do think this is the type of program that is it's unique to our region. I think that in terms of the type of student and the mission of Eastern and the mission of Gonzaga, I think this is a perfect partnership in terms of what students will want to do and where they want to go. Certainly in terms of cost savings right now, budget is a huge factor. We know that. We know people want to stay close to home. So I think in terms of the finances and staying in our region, we might see more of that. And I think that's a good thing. So again, I wish I had a crystal ball to see what this will bring. Thus far, our admission process this year has been moving along, albeit remotely. We've been moving along, and I think we'll end up having a great class, even amidst the crisis and the ever-changing days that we have upon us.
Yeah, and to add on that, Jim, I'm wondering if you can kind of talk about some future hopes you have for this program. 5 years out, what do you hope that this 3+3 partnership has created? I know you've talked about how it's an amazing collaboration. You guys have had a history, but what do you want for those students to come back and tell you, this really worked, or this is what I found most, satisfying with what I achieved?
Well, thanks, Emma. And I'm hoping that we have a number of students that are interested in this 3+3 program, and I'm hoping that we have a good number, 5 to 10, something like that per year, eventually be applying and hopefully being accepted to this program and continuing on at Gonzaga. And I'm talking about political science pre-law majors very specifically right now, because that's the path that we've figured out, and that's absolutely in place. I'm hoping that we can expand this to other majors as well, because other majors are definitely eligible for this program. But I'm hoping that we'll have a number of different majors from Eastern Washington University applying to the 3+3 program with Gonzaga School of Law over the next few years.
Yes, and Jacob, I'm curious if you've kind of thought about that, ways to promote this program outside of just GU Law School. Because, for example, I could just be ignorant. I don't pay attention enough to morning mail or whatever GU sends out, but I've never heard of this, and I'm an active student. So what are you guys going to do to, show this around campus that's not just in your law school?
Sure. So we are planning some informational campaigns. In fact, we had planned one for in person at Eastern to launch this program, and then the coronavirus had different ideas for us. But a lot of people don't know what a 3+3 program is. When they hear that term doesn't necessarily, mean anything to anyone. To us, this is about helping people achieve their dreams on a quicker time frame. And there are a lot of students out there, the data show, they know at a young age that they want to be an attorney. And we want to help lower the barrier to entry to a legal education, to a law degree. There's an access to justice gap in this state and in this region. And so we need attorneys who are motivated and committed to going out into practice in underserved areas and populations. And so that's part of our mission as a law school. That's part of what motivates this work in formulating this agreement with Eastern, and we couldn't be more excited about it.
Amazing. And just kind of to wrap it up overall, Dr. Lee, I'm curious if you can just give some final piece of advice. If there's a student that's kind of on the mend of applying, what is one thing that you would tell them just as a way to kind of, conclude this whole conversation?
If they're thinking about a law degree and thinking about Gonzaga, certainly reach out to us. We love to have conversations. Things are different right now in that they can't come visit, but I always encourage a visit. We have lots of virtual campus tours right now. I always think it's helpful to visit with a current student. Our dean is accessible, I'm accessible, and so absolutely reach out. We'd love to visit with their students.
Amazing. And can you maybe just say what, the website is, or a link that a student could look for more information, or even an email? Can you just state what that would be?
You bet. And I'll give you my personal work email. It's lee@gonzaga.edu. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. And then you can go to our website at law.gonzaga.edu.
Amazing. And then, Jim, can you explain it from an Eastern standpoint? Where where should people be reaching you at?
At my email address is probably best, jheadley@ewu.edu. That's HEADLEY.
Amazing. That gives our listeners a chance to put this into action.
I'm easy to find on the insurance website.
Great.
Sorry.
Great. No, you're so fine. I appreciate all of your time today. I hope you are all safe and staying healthy. And I'm excited to hear more about this program.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you very much. It's our pleasure.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to Experts at EDU. Thanks, guys.
Bye.